Welcome to Running Down the Clock, where we break down all of this week's big news, events, and controversies from the National Football League. Over the next 45 minutes, we will give you basic fan perspective and opinion on the most important stories and moments happening now. So, let's start the clock. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to, that was a real quick intro. Welcome back to Running Down the Clock. We just finished week 4, which means a bunch of things. Some great games on the weekend, but we're going to lead off with something that's off the field from some piece of shit that used to play football for the Packers. His name is Brett Farve. I'm here with Poya. Poya, have you heard about this Brett Farve story?
I've heard about Brett Farve. I first saw him in the movie Something About Mary, and then I found out he was a football player, I believe.
Yeah, he was a football player. He's still a nightmare person. Apparently, he is.
If I could just ask one thing.
Oh, no, we don't even tell the viewers yet about.
No.
Okay.
Did you hate the guy just originally just because he played for the Packers? Like, no matter what his personal beliefs, anything, you disliked him because he was a Packers guy.
Yes, I disliked him because he was a Packers guy.
Off the bat.
The way he carried himself, the way he just kind of got lucky on the field. He didn't read defenses. He didn't know defenses.
He's a gunslinger.
He just got lucky. Yeah, he's just a gunslinger. And his stupid Wrangler jeans, which I will never wear. And then it just, everything about him just hit me the wrong way.
Well, have you heard his take on the Wrangler jeans thing?
No.
He said the Wrangler jeans were stupid. He's like, if I'm at home, I'm not wearing jeans. They always had me in the ads wearing jeans at home. I don't wear jeans at home. I wear something comfortable, not Wrangler jeans.
I don't care what he's wearing. He's wearing poor people's money is what he's wearing. So he apparently
get into it.
Took, if you don't know about the Brett Farve thing yet, he lives in Mississippi. His daughter goes to the University of Southern Mississippi, and he stole $5 million worth of welfare money from people in Mississippi so that he could build his daughter a volleyball stadium.
So the part that gets me, and I was reading up on it just to kind of get a little background information, he's not a member of government in any way. And
no, he just called the mayor.
That blows my mind. I'm not saying what he's doing isn't a bad thing. Like, obviously he's aware of who this money should be going to, who it's earmarked for, and who's now not getting it, and who needs it more than, kids of wealthy families that just want an upgraded facility. These are people on welfare, the poorest people in the poorest state of the states, right?
Yeah, the poorest state is Mississippi, and he's taking money from the poorest people in that state.
The part that I don't get is, why is he in a position to be making a decision where the money goes? Like, who are these government official pieces of shit people who are just allowing him to choose how these funds are spent? There, to me, like, that's the corruption of the government. That's even the worst problem of just letting some celebrity. He's not a government official. He's not an elected official. He has no political experience. Why is he in charge of any of this?
Yeah, no,
pieces of shit in government that are just allowing him to come in and do this.
Yeah, he shouldn't be able to.
That's the greater problem to me.
Well, sure that is the greater problem, but we're a football podcast, so we're going to talk about the football aspect of it.
What's a volleyball aspect?
It's so apparently he took the $5 million. He paid himself $1 million out of that apparently, and then used the rest to fund part of this volleyball stadium so that his daughter could go there and play. And there must have been like wet paint or something that got on her shoes, and he didn't like that, so they had to.
Yeah. So what I read they were doing is he had speaking engagements in which the state was paying him for, which he'd no show for. Like, it was always planned that he's just getting the money.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a piece of shit thing to do for sure. Don't get me wrong there. Like, he's not innocent in any way.
In any way, he's guilty in every way, and it just makes everybody who hates him.
But is what he's doing is what he's doing a crime? Is it legally a crime?
Isn't it?
I don't know. He's not the one in charge of the spending, right? Like, I guess is he embezzling? What's he doing? What he's doing isn't right. I don't know law well enough to know what he's doing.
Yeah,
it's morally wrong for sure. I don't know what crimes he's actually he's breaking. Like, I could see him getting off on this. He's got Trump's lawyer.
Yeah.
just because
It's just
like they
because,
make an
well,
argument
yeah.
that he's not breaking the law. And you can
That's how
tell
you
there's
double when you know you've done something that might not be illegal, but it's just morally horrible. You just get the same guy that represents one of the most morally horrible people in the world.
Yeah, without sounding too jaded and negative, I feel like that is the government in a nutshell. What they
No,
do
for
isn't
sure.
illegal. It's just morally completely wrong.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's just like, come on. How much money has he made in his lifetime that he could have just funded it himself? Like, this is worse than that USC scandal.
What was the USC one?
The
Where
one
the
where the
actresses are paying their
yeah, actors were paying people to
I
get their
don't
kids into school on athletic scholarships. Like, and that one blows my mind because you could just pay for them to go to school. Like, just donate a wing of a library or something, or a new cafeteria or an upgrade for the same amount of
yeah.
money as you could just to have your kids fake being an athlete to get a scholarship. Like, it just, to me, it was a weird workaround. Like, why would you do that? Like,
Yeah.
why would you do that? So this, I can see why he's just showing that he doesn't want to spend his own money because he's a selfish person, but also he wants his daughter to have the best court possible. He also
Well,
tried to get Deion Sanders' son to go to football there by promising that he would get money to build a new stadium.
yeah, I mean, the only part of this that's wrong is you've just taken money from poor people. Like, I mean,
Well, it's the
you
worst
just
part.
took state. Yeah, that's
That's the
I don't
worst
really
part. Is
care
that the
about.
people
I
that need
don't
it the
care
most.
about where his daughter goes to school or like whether they have. I love sports. Don't get me wrong. Sports are huge, but there's bigger problems in society than not having sports. Put up a concrete basketball court and let them play there,
What I mean
and
is
then give money to
they're
the
still
needy.
getting
Like
sports. They're still getting the sports. He just wanted a better place for them to play.
silly.
It's a silly, stupid thing to do when you've got that status and that money. It's one of those things like I don't know why you would do it. Like, why even
Well, I
just
mean, what was his last time he was in the news? Some sort of sexual assault allegations, or sexual
I
misconduct
don't know.
allegations.
Is that true? I don't know if that's true. Is that
Yeah, he
true?
was. I mean, he was in the news for it. I don't know what ever came of it, but yeah, he
But
had some.
was he in the
His
news for it because someone else did something like that and they just happened to be wearing Wrangler jeans and then someone said, yeah, they were also wearing
No, I
Brett
mean,
Favre's
even
Wrangler
like when he
jeans.
was, what was it when he was with the Vikings? There was like some reports coming out of he was sexually harassing reporters and stuff, something like that. I mean, I'm getting the facts a little mixed up here. Don't quote me 100%, but
Yeah, no, don't sue us, anybody. I mean, no one's listening, but don't sue us. The
I'm listening.
it just goes to show he's not a good person, which is something that people have kind of known about him for a while. But all
Yeah,
right, let's go on to some football talk, and we'll go about the Thursday night game first because we talked about this at length and in depth last week. But we have to talk about it again because it has changed, and we both voiced our opinions. We've been pretty clear about it. But Tua Tagovailoa got smoked again on Thursday night, and he looked dead. He looked crippled. He looked like his hands, he was like everything convulsed. And it looked like he had a
just
seizure out there. And you can't tell now, you cannot deny that there's something that happened like the week before on Sunday that caused him to have a concussion. And this was another concussion where it's just increased that drama.
so just even leading up to any of like even before Tua was in the league, the whole thing about the player safety, having a Thursday night game is not really in line with this protect the players. You're not giving them the same kind of rest.
That's
Like
true.
it just goes to show the NFL is all about commerce. It's about the almighty dollar. That's where they're and let's be real, that is they are a business. The NFL is a business first and foremost. And
Yeah, no,
everything
yeah.
they do is a business decision.
Sure, but at what point does this hurt them business wise? At what point do people stop watching because nobody wants to see what happened to him on Thursday night? That was scary.
Well, at this point, I mean, this is the point. Like, yeah, no, like it's not only nobody wants to watch that because like you said, like when his fingers started just seizing up, his whole body seized up like that. People don't want to watch that.
No.
Messed up people want to see that sort of thing. But also, you're taking good players out of the game, and taking good players out of the game doesn't make it as exciting for the fans to watch, right? When sure you miss him one game, but then he's back the next game.
Yeah, well, that's what
Rather
I mean.
than
Is if they had sat him Thursday night, which they should have done, he'd be playing the next 4 weeks. He might not come back this season based on this injury.
well, who knows? Maybe the first initial injury. We don't. We that's the whole thing is we have no knowledge. that first initial injury, what if that was a season ender right there?
Yeah.
We don't know the extent of it. That that doctor was fired apparently.
Well, here, let's get into that because it started off with the first thing I read was the NFLPA was suing the NFL because of how they handled the concussion situation with Tua on that Sunday. And my brain immediately went to why does the NFLPA not have their own doctors at these games? Like that just seems like a pretty simple thing to do is that if you don't want the NFL to control people's concussions and going back into the game, then you should have a representative from your side of that argument there at all times as well. And I guess that they did because they fired that guy who also mishandled the situation. So everybody all together was not paying attention. And they brought in an expert that came in and said the way this whole thing was handled Sunday was terrible and not done properly. So what's the fix? Like the only thing I can think of is you have an NFL representative doctor, an NFL Players Association doctor, and then maybe like the mom of the players that are there to be like, no, like, you can't put my son back in, or the like their wife or kids or something that are like, hey, no, he's not going back in. Like, is that the only way to get this back? Like, that's like, I don't understand.
Did you read that story of was it Mike Tomlin, the Pittsburgh coach? Tomlinson, what's his name?
Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin. There was a player he had who was concussed. The coaches, the league cleared him, the doctors cleared him. And he said no, because if you were my son, there is no way I would let you continue playing.
Is this a true story?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, internet facts, right? This age of like internet stories. Yeah, this is a true. I'm pretty sure it's a true story. Like I'm not getting it from an unreliable source.
See, no, that's why he is one of the most liked coaches.
Oh, he's real
in the sport.
He's as real as they come.
Yeah, like that's a good thing to do. Is like, well, I know you're not going back in there. Like I saw what happened to you.
Yeah, he's like, if you again, that's the whole bond of having. That's why guys like him, right? Like he's treating them like if this was my son, there's no way I'd let you play again until you're,
until your brain isn't coming out of your ears.
You ever had a bad concussion like that?
I believe so. Yeah, I got knocked out playing like just flag football once at school. Like my head hit someone's knee, and I just remember blacking out and coming back in. But
yeah, I had one really bad one. It was from soccer. Goalie ran through me. It was a casual game. It was like a Christmas classic game we played. Goalie went right through me. He was a big guy, like 6'4" something. And he just, I don't know why, just being a big oaf, put his shoulder right through me. I didn't get knocked out, but just straight to the head.
Yeah.
4 days I was depressed. I couldn't even leave the house, couldn't leave the bed, waking up at 4 PM, like just no motivation to live. Like that chemical imbalance is real.
Yeah, especially on guys that are like their brains are still, some of these guys are 21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
Like the brains are still growing. Their bodies are still growing. Like these guys get 20 pounds, 30 pounds heavier in like 2 years into the league.
Yeah. The thing about the Tua hit though is all the stuff they said about the back, that could have also been true as well. Like you don't know how many injuries he could have sustained from that, right?
Sure. But if you watch the videos, you
see no, he hit his head. I'm not saying thin. I'm just saying, like once it shows that they're covering up, they're not releasing the full extent of the injuries. And I understand they don't have to tell that to the fans, but they have to be honest with the players for their safety. At least let them know, like, hey, you got this, you got this, you got this. This is what you're facing right now, right?
Yeah. But I mean,
like,
someone
who
like
knows how many injuries he had? Like the way his body seized up, I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor, but that seems like a nervous issue thing, right? Like that seems almost like a spinal thing.
Well, his brain, probably the concussion is when your brain expands so that it swells against your skull, right?
It moves. It's like a jello. It hits against the inside of your skull because your brain is really soft. It's like gelatin. Sure.
So like it just probably wasn't healed yet. And then it just took another beating. And that was that second one on Thursday night. That was brutal the way he got thrown down to the ground like that. Now, this might be a hot take, or like, I don't want to say it's inappropriate, but that first shot on Sunday and then the second one on Thursday, like at some point, he's also kind of learned how to fall, right?
Yeah, you're victim blaming now, but
I know. I'm victim blaming. I know, no, but it's true. Like stunt people 100%, do it.
100%.
People learn how to fall. You got to learn how to get hit. Like just that first one on Sunday, he got shoved in the chest. And maybe he not expected it, but you at some point you have to, like in hockey, when you're a kid growing up, you get taught how to get hit. not just how to hit
Yeah.
people. You get taught how to get hit. I'm wondering if these guys are still like, because
I
they're coddled so much through college and the NFL. Like at some point, you got to remind them how to get hit.
I remember playing rugby, and again, rugby hits are different than uh, football hits, just because rugby, the guy's always just from the offside rule. He's always in front of you, so you always see him coming. The blind side hits are way more rare in rugby. But I remember from my own experience, 85, 90% of the times you didn't get injured is if you went with the tackle. You saw it coming, you accepted the fact I'm getting hit, and you went with the tackle.
Yeah.
It's when you try and resist, you tweak your back, you pull a muscle, tear an ACL or something because you're trying to resist. Your momentum's pushing you one way, your muscles pull you another way. Another player's taking you with his weight another direction, and everything just gets pulled apart. And that's how you get hurt the most.
Yeah.
Now, that's not preventative to things like concussions because that's still, you're just going to get slammed, right?
Yes.
But
yes.
a lot of injuries, like you're saying, is just accepting how to take the hit. But again, that takes away your whole, one of your best attributes as an athletic QB is being evasive and just what do you call it? Keeping the play going, right? Keeping
For
the play
sure.
alive.
For sure. But when you've already thrown the ball and you kind of are just standing there and you see a guy coming at you, like, because he saw that and then he kind of just went flat on his back and his head got smoked. But
That's
I don't know.
experience.
Like it's like
longevity. You don't see Tom Brady getting hit like that.
No. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what the solve is, but it's going to be a messy little outcome for the next couple of weeks with the whole
I
Tua
wouldn't be
thing.
surprised if we do see a major shift, and it could even be temporarily, of more being on top of players. Like the minorest thing, they're going to make them sit.
Yeah.
Just
I
to show,
think
because I mean, it's like any other corporate thing, like any time of the month, like you see I'm not nothing against anybody, but like Pride Month, you see all these corporations put up the rainbow flags, July 1st, all gone. It's
yeah.
just whatever they have to do to kind of fit in, Black History Month, February they do it, March, it's all gone.
Yeah, so you think it's one of those things where the next month or so everyone kind of like really pays close
it's the
attention to
corporate
it.
social responsibility now. Like, oh, this is what people want to see us do. And I don't know. I'm just thinking like, there's going to be a lot of people speaking out against this, right? Because it was so publicly seen that he was hit badly, he shouldn't have played, and immediately in the next game. And it was a very graphic image of him on the ground there. Like, it wasn't just like he took a bad hit, they stretchered him off. Like you said, like he's
convulsed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there's a difference between watching a guy break his ankle or have his foot turn like 90 degrees. That's an injury that's like kind of a freak thing that is part of, you could do that on regular life, just kind of running down the street. But to just continuously get put into a game to have concussion and then have that, your brain choosing to make your fingers warp. Like it looked like he broke all of his fingers.
What? It's also like those kind of injuries, they're not quantifiable the same way as, your shin bone is snapped in half. This bone, like they can show you on the x-ray, this bone is snapped in half. Typically it's this time to heal. This is what this procedure is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very quantifiable, like it's measurable. They can tell you everything about it. Your nervous system is so different for everybody. To understand the long-term effects of it, you don't know. The way they know is when you're dead and they study you afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a little too late then.
A little too late then. Right now it is anyways. That's why you need to have like someone that cares about this person essentially in that doctor's room when there's a concussion protocol. Someone has to be a voice of reason.
Yeah. And again, just playing the other side of the argument, and I don't know what the take is, but we don't know, like, is Tua upset if they didn't let him play?
Yeah, probably. But at some point, too bad. You're not going to be in a hospital tonight. Right? Like, I bet you now if Tua went back and was like, oh, I'm not going to play that last Thursday game. I'm going to go back a week and not play that game because I know what happens. Like, that's a choice he would make.
Well, only because of the hospital hit, but I mean.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to maybe something that's a little more controversial. Is Jared Goff from the Lions an NFL MVP candidate?
I'll tell you this. I only say regardless of how his stats finish. I don't think so, only because I feel like it's one of those things that it's favored to a guy who's winning. He's gonna be winning a
100%.
bit more.
There's no way he's going to win unless they win 9 or 10 games coming up. There's
Yeah.
no way Jared Goff is going to be an MVP. But the numbers he's putting up right now, it's the highest scoring offense in the league. And he's having a hell of a season. He's got more completions than Brady, Mahomes, Rodgers, more yards than Brady, Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts. He's got more passing touchdowns than Allen, Herbert, or Rodgers. He might not get MVP, but he could win the Offensive Player of the Year award.
This is 2 seasons now where I guess ever since Matt Patricia left, the Lions are losing every game by 3 points. They're losing week in, week out by 3 points, and they're scoring 30, 35, 40, 45 points. How are you scoring 45 points and not winning? That's not, that's not something you expect. You expect your team puts up 45, you're winning that game.
So do they fire their defensive coordinator?
I mean, I think you have to look at the problem is on defense, no?
Well, I think the problem on defense is that there's not a good enough player. Their defensive line is great, but there's a rookie that everybody loves and Malcolm Rodriguez, that it's his first season, who's all over the place making plays. But other than that, the safeties, their best player on defense used to be Tracy Walker, who's now out for the season with an ACL tear. So their defensive backs and their free safeties and their outside linebackers aren't great. So I don't know if they have the personnel to be good, but their defensive line is good. But at some point, I think they're the only team that's let in 30 plus every game this season so far.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is killing them.
Killing them. There was a 48-45 loss to Seattle.
Yeah. Seattle, like what's Seattle putting up against other teams?
The same amount. So we could pivot off that because Geno Smith. How about a hell of a year that Geno Smith is having? He is very quiet. I don't even know if it's quietly, but because we're not talking about Seattle, but
is this team atop of the division?
No, they're not.
Are they not?
No, the Seahawks are everyone's tied in that division at 2-2. So you could theoretically be put at the top.
So they're tied
for
okay. Yeah. Okay.
They're tied first, which is outstanding. And I'm trying to look at the stats here because I believe that he is beating Russell Wilson in every category this year so far. More touchdowns.
Russell's not doing great.
No, he's not. But he's also in his defense. He's got a brand new system, brand new team.
I mean, it's rare that a guy just moves over like that and just has immediate success. Like, I mean, Tom Brady won a Super Bowl doing it, but not everybody's him.
Yeah, not everyone's Tom Brady. But that being said, is it more of a surprise that Russell Wilson is having a slower or worse season on essentially what was supposed to be a great team, or that Geno Smith is doing very well on a team that we had finishing last place?
I think it's one of those things. It's very early in the season. Like, it reminds me of like Ryan Fitzpatrick. He always, wherever he went, he had these streaks of just looking great, but he could never sustain it for an entire season. Now, I like Geno Smith just because I like this underdog story, right? Like
it's a good one.
That first game where he came on, like just the joy on his face of being somebody who's been counted out
for 10 years.
Yeah. And
for 10 years.
Still, I love an athlete like that. He never gave up on his dream. He never gave up on his goals. He sat there, didn't do anything in Seattle except take coin tosses for the past few seasons.
Didn't complain, didn't argue with anybody, just sat there and helped the team any way he could until his chance came. Yeah,
waited for his moment, and he's making the most of it. How can you not have respect for the guy for doing
I mean, if he stays like this, they'll make a movie about it. If the Seattle Seahawks make the playoffs with Geno Smith at the quarterback, they will make a movie about this guy.
Do you feel bad for Drew Lock at that point?
No, I will never feel bad about Drew Lock. Some people just don't make it. Drew Lock might have his own story in 10 years.
No, there's 32 starting quarterbacks in the world. That's it.
Yeah. That's it. And some of them aren't starting quarterbacks. Some of the guys on these teams aren't starting quarterbacks. We thought Geno Smith wasn't going to be one of those, and he's proven us all wrong right now.
He's holding his own. As long as he's as good as you could be asking for from Seattle right now. Like, he's a surprise for sure.
And
As how good is he playing?
I hope he carries on because it is exciting. Like I know he just beat the Lions and everything, but like the interviews after, he's the biggest smile on his face, and he's just out there slinging it.
Has he played a good team yet? They haven't played a good team yet, have they? I mean, I'm not calling Denver a good team so far.
I mean, Denver should be a good team, though. They've beat Denver.
Should be, but they're not. The Colts should be a good team, but they're not.
Yeah, you're not right. So they beat they lost the 49ers. They beat
the Raiders should be a better team than they are. They're not.
They lost the Falcons too. So I mean, they beat the Lions and the Broncos.
Falcons are surprisingly doing better than I thought, though.
Yeah, but that's another team where Marcus Mariota is doing pretty well. The Falcons are also 2-2. So let's talk about the Panthers for a second, because they were wanting to do very, very well this year, or at least they thought that they'd be in a playoff contention. They're 1-3. Baker doesn't seem to be getting it done. Now you have a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who we don't know how much time he has left because he's getting injured all the time, but he's a young guy. And then you have 3 quarterbacks. You got Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, and then the kid that you drafted this year, who Darnold and that kid aren't able to play right now because of injuries. Baker's not getting it done. So it kind of feels like he's not the answer for the future. Do you kind of blow this team up? Like, if you have a team that's 1-3 that you know is not going anywhere, and you have a star like Christian McCaffrey, should you trade McCaffrey for 1 or 2 first-round picks?
I think that's always the safe choice. Again, I've never
because they're in win now mode. They're in win now mode, whereas the Lions,
they're so far from
win.
Well. They're so far from win now, though.
Well, that's what I mean. Is they wanted to win now, though. They thought they were a quarterback away from winning now.
I'm gonna just throw an idea out there that one of the toughest things in sports is to just come out and admit you're not as good as you planned you are.
Well, that's how people get fired. That's how people get fired.
Pulling that trigger of just like, you know what? We are not as good as we thought we were going to be. Yeah, people get fired. But on the flip side, like Geno Smith, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you either. As soon as you have accepted that you're not as good as you are, you're not as good as you could have been.
But can't you underplay it and then overachieve?
You're also throwing away everything. I mean, you have to kind of be fully invested in we're going to do it or no. I don't feel like you can be that halfway of just like.
But you can, because like the Lions coaches, when they asked, like, what do you expect from this team every year? And they said, we will compete in every game. They didn't have to come out and say, hey, we're going to win. We're going to make the playoffs. We're going to win. They said, we will compete in every game. So why did the Panthers coaches and their team say, hey, we have expectations to make the playoffs this year?
Because that's their expectations. What was from Coach Campbell's talk? What was, when we talked about this on the podcast, his thing was to finish games. That was the goal he set for his short-term goal. And that's what they're not doing, actually. They're just coming short right now. Like, that's the whole thing. That he wants to get over that hump of not falling that short. 3 points every week is got to be. No,
but they don't have the talent on the team to do it. You need to be able to stop somebody that can't stop anybody. Score more points. 45 points.
Put up 55. I mean, that's.
Hey, if they got the ball back, they would have scored again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you got to find a way. You got to find a way. That's the only choice.
Sure, but if your team is not doing well and you know that, like the Lions knew they weren't going to make the playoffs this year. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone in the world knew they were going to win like 3 games.
No, and I think they're realistic. They realized.
So they're trying to grow their talent. They're trying to build again.
Yeah.
The Panthers thought they were going to make the playoffs. It's clearly not going to work out. Should they start shipping people out? Would it be good to see CMC on a team like the Buccaneers?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think I've always thought like to rebuild in NFL, you get a quicker rebuild than other sports. You rebuild from going to the bottom. You don't rebuild from like, try and get a couple quick guys in there to change things around. Unless you're a piece or two short, they're clearly not a piece or two short.
No, they thought they were with a quarterback. Turns out they're not. So therefore,
but they still could be because they never got that quarterback.
Wow. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Baker, you even said yourself, Baker's not getting it done.
It's not
like, oh, they're brought on the quarterback and the rest of the team's not living up to the quarterback talent level.
So you think they should just continue to lose, draft a quarterback next year with the same team?
I mean, that's a question of assessing how much of your team you can keep. And I haven't studied them that much. I don't care about Carolina.
I'm just saying. So use like you could use anybody else. Like the Colts. If the Colts keep losing, is there any reason to keep Jonathan Taylor around? Is there any reason to keep Michael Pittman around? The
Yeah,
defensive
because
guys, should you get rid of some of them? Like,
For the Colts, it seems like they can keep their team together. No, I don't think they have anybody on like a massive contract that
no, and they have lots of money to spend too. It's just, but
exactly.
it's not working though.
No, and who was it the Colt this week that said it's frustrating getting a new quarterback every year, and you keep getting this old guy who's just not your answer. You know
But
what do they
what is
have?
the other answer?
The answer is to get a younger guy to grow the team. As they're growing their younger players, grow your quarterback too. Like or get like kind of like a little bit experience. They're getting guys at the twilights of their careers.
So they
I
should
guess
draft.
Carson Wentz. No, Carson Wentz is not the twilight of his career, but
But so they're just saying they should draft because they're always kind of right in the middle around 17, 18. They should draft a quarterback that's like maybe third off the board and just pray that in 2 years, it takes 3 or 4 years for a quarterback to hit the stride.
you know my fantasy football history. I'm not good with the draft. But
It
here's my
takes
question.
it
Here's my
takes 3 or 4 years for a rookie
Yeah,
quarterback to do well in this league, unless they're like phenoms like
yeah.
Mahomes.
Here's
But
here's my question to you though. How easy is it to actually draft that quarterback? I don't feel like it's
it's
as easy.
hard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, give me first pick, and I still don't think you're picking that franchise quarterback. What maybe I don't
No, you're
know, five
right.
out of
That,
ten
well, look
times?
at Carson
Five out of ten
Wentz.
times?
Carson Wentz, first round quarterback. I think he was third, maybe. Um,
Jared Goff.
yeah, Jared Goff was one. Like those
It's not that.
guys,
It's not that easy to pick this
it's not
franchise quarterback.
easy. So how is it? So how is it more frustrating to bring in a guy that's proven and not do well than to just say, okay, we're going to waste 3 years of your team's
But who was
youth?
proven that they brought in? Baker Mayfield wasn't proven. Sam Darnold wasn't proven. None of these guys
The
were
Colts,
proven.
the Colts. They brought in Philip Rivers, proven.
But
Carson
yeah, but
Wentz,
he
Super
was at the
Bowl.
end of his career. That's what I'm saying. Like you,
So
bro, like
wouldn't you
you, okay,
rather have?
you
Wouldn't
said it
wouldn't you rather
takes a
have?
quarter.
Hold on. Wouldn't you rather have a proven veteran instead of a rookie that's going to take 3 or 4 years?
I'd rather have a proven veteran who's not on the last year of his career. Obviously, if he's retiring next year, he doesn't have that much left in the tank. He doesn't have that overdrive in games to just go all out and win. He's already in his head decided, I'm not playing next year. My body can't take it.
So they
Proven,
should
like
have.
a proven veteran is different than the guy in his, what do they call in basketball? The farewell tour. I don't want a farewell tour guy. Don't give
So
me a
so
farewell tour player.
so then you're saying they should have went out and traded for
Carson
Russell
Wentz was a better
Wilson.
move. Russell Wilson. Carson Wentz was a better move. I think that's the disappointment where that one didn't work out.
So isn't it hard to do that
But
again, knowing that it didn't work out with the Carson Wentz, who you thought was a proven type of guy that you just thought
no,
was like
because
bad luck?
no thing works out every single time. But just because it didn't work out this time doesn't mean things don't work out the next time. You keep going at you. What is the thing you say? You practice success, and success will follow. Right? You practice successful things, and just because it didn't work out this time doesn't mean okay. Well, we gotta blow everything up and try again. Like again, they got Matt Ryan. How many more years do you think Matt Ryan's got in him?
This could have been a lot. This could be his last year.
Farewell tour.
We said that at the beginning of this. At the beginning of this podcast, when we first started, though, was like Matt Ryan is on a prove it deal. Like he has to do well, or else why would they ever bring him back? And then who else would ever get him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think the move is getting a farewell tour quarterback.
No, probably not.
I don't have an answer. I don't know what it is about Baker Mayfield that he just. I don't know if it's an attitude thing that he just doesn't bond well with his teammates, or it's a skill thing. Doesn't make the right decision. He just doesn't have the accuracy. I don't know what the deal is with him that
I think it could just be like a skill thing. Like
just not that good.
it's just not that good. Yeah.
Was he first overall pick?
First overall pick. Yeah. Won the Heisman Trophy. It's just one of those things where like he was great and like in college and just above average in the NFL at every aspect, but no one's really scared of him. If that makes sense.
No, like we said, I've never seen him take over a game.
Yeah.
It's like he's fighting for every single yard.
He's just not that good. He's just not that good. Okay, well, let's see. We're coming down to like the last 10 minutes here. Should
Well,
we get into what's up?
I was gonna say, like, he's talking about quarterback that's not that good. I was gonna mention Tom Brady.
Okay.
There's rumors coming out now that him and his wife, they got divorce lawyers. I don't know if there's any truth to any of that.
They got
But
lawyers or they're just taught like I heard.
they have hired the stories I read today on the internet. And again, these are internet facts, so I don't know how true any of them are, but I saw
Okay,
multiple sources.
there you
They've
go.
hired divorce lawyers. Now, I don't know what extent that means, but just assuming that's true, how much of an impact does that affect on him going through the rest of the season? If he's got to deal with public divorce, I think that's a major hindrance on his focus for
I don't think it is at all.
no.
Well, I mean, it just means that one, he gets to spend more time away from home and more time in the facility watching
But that
game
looks
tape.
bad. Okay, yeah, but a lot of that could look bad on the divorce for like I'm sure he wants a good relationship with his kids too, right? Like, I don't think he just wants to. Like, I don't think he wants to lose his whole family like that, right? Just for a season. But yeah, I don't know what the guy's
Well,
personal
he
life.
doesn't. That doesn't necessarily mean that he has to lose his family. It just means that he's moving out of the house where obviously there was a rift, and this is one of those things where he had enough, and he was like, I'm going to be healthier if I separate and get out of here for a second
But I
for the
mean,
season. The
I
timing
think
is weird. The timing is very strange for all of this. I know that no one chooses the timing of something like this, but it almost seemed like it started like he was going back to camp and then he took like 12 days away from camp and then all of a sudden this stuff started happening.
so. The story is that and again, I don't know if there's any truth to this. I've said that about every single thing I've said tonight because I'm full of shit. I know. Um, the story is his wife was unhappy with him unretired. That's what caused the initial rift. They had plans, which he then had to break because he had training camp. So that's why they let him step away for the training camp.
You don't think
To
that she was part of that decision for him to go back?
I don't know. I think not. I mean, I don't know. From every
There's
movie
no
I've
way they
seen,
didn't sit down and have it from every movie you've seen. He just said, you know what, fuck it. And he walked out the
no,
door
no,
and went
no.
back
From
to
every
play
movie I've seen,
football.
the wife always wants them to like spend more time with the family. He's like, when are you gonna come spend time with us? I'm going
Well,
out there
actually, I
working.
was gonna say
He makes
in
more
the
money than him. Like I don't know why he doesn't have to use that
when I
excuse of working. Like,
yeah, she's got her own money.
yeah.
When I brought up the fact that for like the Tua situation, like they should have a family member in the doctor's office when they're making the decision to go back in the game. If you remember any given Sunday when the old quarterback got hurt and his wife came back and said, you get your ass out there and you continue to play. I don't know who you are if you're not a football player. It's like that, it could go the other way too, but I'm not saying that's Giselle, but that's like, it's not like she was just watching TV one day, like, oh, where's Tom? And he just coming out of the tunnel with his
No, but
helmet in
I
hand.
mean, there's a difference between like having a discussion with somebody and them being fully on board. Again, these are like very personal things. There's no way for us to know any of the details, right?
No.
But I'm just saying this is the stories I've seen on the internet. Now, I think it is a big distraction, especially looking at the Bucks team right now, where I don't think they're as off to as good of a start as they hoped for. It's not a terrible start.
Yeah.
They're not crushing games like we thought they were. They're depleted with a lot of injuries too,
Mm-hmm.
and start adding some personal problems for their quarterback. And he even said it at the beginning of the season. He had that quote. He's like, I'm 45. There's a lot of shit I got to deal with in life.
Yeah.
And, there's going to be some frustration that sets in and a couple more smashed tablets, a league fine, like it could start to work against him.
Yeah. Well, hey, the Bills coach smashed some tablets and he didn't get fined. So I think that whole fine situation is bullshit.
Well, I think they just don't want to promote the smashing of the tablets.
No,
That's all.
we know we've talked. We don't need to go back into this. We don't need to go back into this. Why don't they give them their rivals? Put on like some iPads or something on the sideline, smash those, and Microsoft can be like, "Look, they're only smashing the Apple ones. They're only smashing the Apple ones. Just do that. Problem solved."
Yeah, but you're still promoting the other companies.
No, you're not. They're useless. They're worthless. The Microsoft ones are sitting pretty on the bench. The Apple product ones, they're getting smashed up.
Yeah, I mean, you're still seeing that Apple logo though for that split second.
Yeah, it's getting stomped on though.
Now, here's another question: what if the Apple ones don't smash as easy? and it looks bad.
These things are durable as all hell.
Ah, this show
Okay,
has changed.
this show
I
has
don't even know what
changed.
we're talking
Oh,
about
you haven't even
anymore.
talked about football yet. We haven't talked about any of the games from last week. There was good games, blah blah blah, whatever. Should we talk about
Hey,
upcoming games?
we got to talk about one thing. We got to talk about one thing, and I think I need an apology. Not that I've earned one or deserve one. I'm just begging for one. My Raiders pulled it off.
Yeah,
They
sure.
got the
Their
W.
first win. So do you think that they can? Because it's tough for an 0-3 team to make the playoffs. You think this is the first? It's obviously the first step in the right direction, but I mean, it's the Broncos. I mean, it is the Broncos. They're supposed to be good, but they're not. But they're in the same division, which helps. Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm not gonna give you an apology for that, though. You can go fuck yourself.
Oh, go fuck myself is kind of the best apology I've ever had.
All right.
Just close to any apology I've ever had.
Week 5 coming up because no one cares about past games anymore. It's over. You guys listen to this on Thursday. You don't care. Thursday night game tonight after you listen to this will be Broncos Colts. Seems like Russell Wilson's gonna play. This is essentially a game of two underachieving teams. Broncos are 3.5 favorites to win in Denver. Who do you think pulls this one out?
This is rare. This is the two horse teams.
The two horse teams.
Yeah.
The
More
foot
of
in
a
the head. The foot in the head.
the foot in the head. Well, no, a colt is what is it? It's a teenage horse.
Yeah, the logos. I'm looking at the logos.
Right.
Horseshoe and head.
Yeah. I think the Colts come back on this one. I don't. I told you, like watching the Broncos, they're not a convincingly good team.
No, they
Now,
look crappy. But the Colts don't look good either.
The
though.
Colts look terrible.
And is Jonathan Taylor banged up?
Yeah, I don't know if he's playing. What happened to him? Like, is he a one year wonder?
I hope not, because he's so much fun to watch.
He hasn't done much this year, has he?
No, but I don't know what. Like I said, I don't know what's going on.
Now
The team.
he's
Everybody
injured.
knows they can't throw the ball. He plans on playing Thursday night. He plans on playing. So he's banged up. Russell Wilson's banged up. Two banged up guys on.
He plans on playing, but
Yeah.
you know, if his mom was there,
If his mom was there, he might not play.
yeah, exactly.
He might not play. And then okay, let's go. So who do you think wins this game? Broncos or Colts?
I said
3.5.
Colts. I'm going with Colts.
Colts. I think the Colts win too, to be honest, which is tough.
This is a wild year. Am I not like? Am I just maybe I'm analyzing this more just because we talked about it a little more? Is this not kind of a wild start to a season where like
it always is
very unpredictable?
It always
more so
is.
than previous year.
This is the best part about the NFL is that you never. There's always we talked about this. Like there's always teams that end up sucking that are really good the year before, and teams that were terrible the year before that end up being in the playoffs.
But not even the year before. I mean, just week to week is like, oh, that team had a convincing win last week, and then they get beat by Tennessee the next week or something.
Yeah, that is. Well, that happens too. I mean, I don't know.
It does.
Parody of this is why this league's the best league in sports. Sunday night game, Ravens Bengals. That's another good one. Ravens in Baltimore. Ravens defense seems to stink this year because Lamar Jackson's out there just scoring touchdowns at will. But in the second half, they end up losing the game.
What did you think about those Bengals white uniforms? I thought they were actually going to lose that game. And this is based nothing on football. It's just based on nonsense. But they overhyped their uniforms so much that I thought they'd lose just because they overhyped the wrong aspect of the game. The jerseys and the helmets.
Yeah, but hey, did you like Did you like them though?
Oh yeah, I mean, I never understood. I never understood why teams were limited to one helmet. Like that's a new rule from just like past 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know why either, but like the coolest thing in college is the Oregon Ducks were owned by the Nike guy.
Never wore the same jersey.
They've never worn the same jersey, never worn the same outfit. Is awesome. So the coolest thing to see every time you watch them, you're like, oh, it's different. This is different. Or sometimes it sucks, sometimes it's good. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know why there's that rule either.
I think it's a silly rule. Just let them do what they want to do, right?
Let them do what they want to do. Let them do what they want to do. Okay, so
I think I'm going with the Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to start to take a little bit of a roll here.
3-point favorites from Ravens. This is a big divisional game.
It is a huge one. And I think those are the only two teams in that division that really like Pittsburgh's not looking like a threat to anybody.
No, but they did go with the new quarterback, which is just going to make them fun to watch. And they're basically chosen to bail on this season and rebuild.
Yeah.
And the Browns, who knows? They just have to stay tight until they get if he's even star quarterback left.
Yeah. What's their record right now, the Browns?
I don't know. Actually, it's not in front of me. 2-2, I think.
2-2. Everybody's 2-2
Everybody's 2-2.
except for
So I you know what? I want to go with the Ravens, but I feel like that this is where the Bengals catch fire as well. Like this is where they start to show that they're the team they were last year. And it looks like the Bengals defense is a little bit better than the Ravens defense this year.
like obviously there's more parts to it than just the Bengals playing well, but that last week, that I think that elevated the Bengals to just get a little more confidence. And I think that ended Miami's season right there. I don't think Miami's going deep anymore.
Well, if they have to rely on Teddy Bridgewater.
That's what I'm saying. I think I don't think Tua's gonna have a good season after this. I mean, I think he's pretty banged up.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna lose. I think they're gonna lose too many games in the meantime, and they just won't recover for this season.
He's got the brain scramblies.
That's what I mean. It was ugly. I think that took a lot away from. I think that took a lot away from their team.
Yeah, he was proven that he was proven that he belonged in this league, and
he was playing great.
He's playing great, and now it's I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
I think that took all the wind out of their sails.
It'll be interesting to see them turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, Teddy Bridgewater could be a Geno Smith.
Well, he could be. Yeah, there's no reason to rule out Teddy Bridgewater. When he was with the Saints, he was like 6-0 or something, right?
He had some. He came to a. If I remember correctly, he started his career really well, and then he had a really bad injury. He missed a year and a half or something.
Yeah, he had a really bad ACL tear or something like that.
Yeah, and that really set back his career. But I mean, when he entered the league, he wasn't a bad player. He was a good, solid, reliable player. He was where Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, and they loved him there.
Yeah,
he had a very promising young career. It kind of got taken away from him.
Yeah.
But those are I think are the games of the weeks this week that we can talk about football wise.
Who are the Raiders playing? Who are the Lions playing?
The Lions are playing the Patriots in New England. So
that's the game of the week.
That's not the game of the week. Nobody cares about this.
Matt Patricia on the sidelines. Come on, this is your game to hate. You love to hate.
I love to hate. We better win that game. Oh my God, we better win that game. I can't watch for this game. I'm pumped now. I wasn't before.
That's what I'm saying. How could you not have?
I don't even know if I want to watch though because
I can't believe you didn't have this one circled on the calendar. Just how you bought a calendar specifically to circle this date.
You're right. I'm getting pumped up. Oh, we better beat that fucking guy.
Hey, the Patriots are in shambles right now. What are they on the 5th, 6th, 7th quarterback?
Yeah, they're in rough shape.
They traded for a nobody the other day, or signed
nobody to the practice. Bring Cam Newton back. Okay, well, I think the Lions win that. I hope they blow them out. I hope it's 48-20 because their defense ain't stopping them.
Well, Matt Patricia's calling plays.
Yeah, it's true. He's the equalizer for a bad defense. You got Matt Patricia calling plays.
Your bad defense
so happy when they score a touchdown. He's like, "Wow!"
Is a result of him.
I can't believe that. Oh wow, I can't believe that we actually scored on that touchdown. What a great play! He's just so clueless. And yes, our bad defense is because of him. He traded away the best players on our defense.
Now, who the Raiders got?
Raiders play Monday night against the Chiefs.
That game is usually pretty tight. I think Chiefs take it. I think the Chiefs take it, but that game is usually tight. Where is it? In Las Vegas?
Kansas City. It's in Kansas City.
Oh,
But I think they usually split each year. And
they're pretty close. Yeah, they're always close games.
Yeah, I don't know who won last year. I think the Raiders might have taken 2 from Kansas City last year.
And what about our Jags?
I just went off the page to dive down into the Raiders Chiefs history. The Jags are playing the Texans. Ugh, no one's watching that game. No one's watching that game. $10 tickets to that game, probably. 7.5 favorites for the Jaguars. Yeah, that makes sense. They're a good team this year.
Now, the hottest team in the NFL. Do you actually think the Eagles are the best team? They got the best record. Do you actually think they are the best team in the NFL right now?
Yes.
Yeah. There's the Bills and the Chiefs, I'd say, that are still the teams that are still proven to be solid. You put the Eagles ahead of them?
Yes.
I still think the Bills are the team. After last week of just watching Allen he just he took over that game. Like that's what you'll never see. That's what you'll never see. That's what you'll never see. Like the Baker Mayfields do. All these quarterbacks who criticize.
Yeah.
What Josh Allen did that game. Like that's a quarterback taking over the game.
Yep. And that's what he does. That's why he's the arguably one like top 5 in the league. Eagles are the only undefeated team left though. So I mean you have to give it to them just by default.
No, because you can also like strength of schedule, like the teams they play.
No, you can't do that. You go by win-loss record.
By win-loss record at the end of the season, but
well, right now it's 4-0. So if you just expand that, they're 16, 17-0. And their schedule is pretty damn easy coming up. So I don't know. I think Eagles is the best team in the league right now. But with that, we are kind of out of time. So thank you everyone for listening to Running Down the Clock. Poya, thanks for taking the time out of your super hectic schedule to have another one of these ridiculous conversations. I hope everyone enjoyed. We will see you next week. Poya, any last words?
Yeah, I didn't have any issue taking time out of my day for this because I would have talked for another 6 hours if you had let me. So people should be thanking you for stopping me.
That's why we have the timer. You have timeouts to use. You haven't used any yet, but we'll use them next week.
I get in the zone. I forget about
it. Everybody have a good week. Enjoy the weekend if you're in Canada. Have a good Thanksgiving Day, long weekend Sunday. Good night. Running Down the Clock is brought to you by the Ordinary Podcast Network and is every Thursday running until the week after the Super Bowl. We hope you enjoyed enough to subscribe and tune in again next week.